Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Dialogue Tree. This is episode 8, the sounds of a console launch.
And how is he playing? Because obviously, parts of your brain, no one knows how these are going to affect, and what parts of your body and parts of everyday life are going to be affected, and how they're going to be affected by something like this.
I'm currently driving to a midnight launch for the Switch 2. I've never been to a midnight launch before. These things have become kind of rare in recent years, so I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to go to one of these again. Midnight launches. I remember seeing coverage of these in magazines, newspapers, hearing them talked about. They seemed like the accessible side of something like E3, the glamorous side of gaming. The money, the budgets, the hype, the gigantic installations, the colour, the lights. They seem like a gateway to that. They seem like part of that. Something that I was never able to participate in. So I'm curious, what does a launch party look like in 2025? What will it look like? What will it feel like? Who will be there? What sort of people will be there? What sort of effort is going to be put into the experience? Are they going to even be trying to replicate how it was back in the day? I have no idea. Okay, we are outside the midnight launch, and I am here with
Alex.
Hello, Alex.
Hello.
I notice you seem to be very excited for Switch 2 in your Switch 2 t-shirt. How long have you had your Switch 1?
I've had my Switch 1 since the Christmas after release. I can't remember what year it was now.
It's 2017.
Yes, the
release.
Christmas of 2017.
That's a long time for any one console. What are you most excited for about Switch 2?
Honestly, I'm most excited for Mario Kart World because it has been a very, very long time since we got a new Mario Kart, and the booster course tracks have kept us going, but ready for something new.
Fair enough. What else are you picking up? Or what else are you excited for about the launch lineup?
Well, I'm excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza because it looks like you can smash stuff up, which looks pretty fun. And I'm excited for the fact that the Joy-Cons also work as a mouse.
Is there any particular use of the mice that you see down the line that you'd be quite excited about?
I mean, I feel like they've done enough. They've done those with motion controls with games like Skyward Sword that basically completely use them. So I definitely think that there's aspects in 3D Mario, the next 3D Mario game and stuff, where they could completely implement subsections using the mouse. Yeah.
And what do you think of the price?
Yeah, wow. Basically everything is overpriced nowadays, so I just sort of got over it. But yeah, it is very pricey, especially the games. I think that's the bad bit, but I don't think there's anything we can do. So
that's refreshingly philosophical.
Yeah.
Very much. Thank you. And I'm now here with
Theo.
Hi, Theo. So how long have you had your original Switch?
I got my original Switch Christmas 2018 mostly for Smash Bros.
Okay.
And I've been rocking it ever since.
Is Smash your favourite game, or was there anything else?
Yeah, I think it is probably. I mean, I like all of them, but in terms of playtime, it's definitely up there.
What sort of playtime are we talking here?
1,200.
Okay, you're not kidding. You're one of the serious Smash players. Nice. What are you most excited for about Switch 2?
I'd say, it's definitely the games. I'm not really a technology guy, so I'm all about getting the new games and seeing what new stuff is going to come out for it.
Is there anything that's caught your eye in particular that's coming out?
Looking forward to the Donkey Kong game. I am a big fan of monkeys and Donkey Kong especially, so having him there and having a brand new Donkey Kong game after, again, all this time, I think I'm looking forward to that.
Nice one. Monkeys are cool. Thank you. Hi. This is Andrew, dropping in from the present day. Now, I originally wanted this episode to be a sort of time capsule for the launch of the Switch 2, to be a compilation of the sounds of the launch, as I want to experiment with the format of this show to test myself a bit. The announcement of a midnight launch near me seemed too good to miss. I thought about recording the sounds of a midnight launch and then making the rest of the episode a compilation of the sounds of the new console. All those new chimes and whistles edited together in this nice little audio collage kind of thing. So I bought a lavalier mic, played around with that, and I headed out. Now, I fully intended to walk the queue at the midnight launch, interview as many people as I could on their thoughts, hopes and feelings for the new console, get their reflections on the old one, that sort of thing. Well, I kind of bottled that. It turns out I'm no Louis Theroux, and I was just far too nervous to talk to anyone at the launch, with the notable exception of Alex and Theo. Shout out to them, and to Alex's Cuphead tattoo, which was awesome. I took some audio from inside the store and then recorded some thoughts as I headed home, and it just wasn't very interesting. There wasn't much life to it. And it turns out I don't have many particularly interesting thoughts at 1 a.m. about the process of buying a set of controllers and a USB camera. The launch itself was totally fine. There's just lots of normal, chill people just chatting. Everything was very quick and efficient. But it's 2025, so there were no fireworks or dancing mascots or anything, which is totally fine. I was listening back to it and just thought, no, that's not what this episode should be, because this is the launch of a new console, a new Nintendo console, a straight sequel to one of the most revitalizing pieces of hardware in the history of gaming. This is Christmas in June, and that approach didn't capture the excitement of the online community that has happened around this launch. This episode should at least try to sound exciting. So, let's go. Let's start again. Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Dialogue Tree. This is episode 8. System Transfer. The launch of the Switch 2. And let's start this liftoff with where we left off, with Fast Fusion. Fast Fusion is a sci-fi racer developed by Shinen Games, the sequel to Fast RMX, which was a launch title for the Switch 1. I never played that game. So, let's pause quickly. And this is important for this episode, given another game that we'll be talking about later. Why should you listen to what I have to say about this game? Well, I don't play racers. I think the last racing game I actually bought with my own money was with pocket money, which should give you an idea of how long ago that was. I don't think I've bought a single racer on the Switch eShop. Why? Now, I think it's because I find them too stressful, like too frustrating. Like a really uncomfortable level of tension in the 3 minutes from starting line to finishing line. Yeah, that's the point of them. I can't help being so weak. I love live, die, repeat games and the tension inherent to those, but racers have just never really clicked with me. I've always dismissed them completely incorrectly, and totally as a way of justifying my lack of ability, as casual, throwaway games. That is all to say, I'd like to think that if I do enjoy a racing game, that you could trust me on that. And so it goes. Fast Fusion absolutely rips. First, let's talk about the visuals. Artistically, Fast Fusion is a futuristic racer more in line with the sleek, rather generic Wipeout style than the colourful, poppy kind of 60s Marvel leanings of F-Zero. We've got varying shades of grey metals, a smattering of neon, sizzling electricity, flame jets, that sort of thing. Visually, however, much like its predecessor, it's a showcase for the abilities of the console and the talents of the developer. That's the USP for Shinen, and one of the few things I know about Fast RMX, their ability to tease unparalleled performance out of new hardware. Accordingly, this game looks excellent, and runs flawlessly on the Switch too. It's crisp and detailed, with nothing sacrificed or compromised by the speed of the game. The environments fly past, but I never have to squint to see what's going on. Even when there's multiple ships on hand, jostling for position in a loop-the-loop while weather effects pelt the screen, it's easy on the eye, looking like an impossible tech demo that ends up never getting released. For the tech heads, there's multiple performance modes that take advantage of 4K, HDR and all that jazz. What I know is, even blown up on a big screen, this looks exactly as it should. Gameplay wise, Fast Fusion is broken up into 4 cups, each made up of 3 races. You race against 10, I think, other floating craft. There are coins scattered about each track, which contribute to your ability to boost. There are colour-coded boost pads, red and blue. You switch the phase, that is the colour, of your craft with a tap of the X button. Match your phase to that of the pad to receive a boost. Mess up, you slow down. If you boost while next to a competitor, you cause them to spin out. Your ship can jump, amusingly, improbably high, with the tap of the L button, which is used to avoid environmental hazards, as well as accessing the numerous optimal routes or shortcuts hidden throughout each track. Best of all, if you jump and land on another craft, they explode in a shower of coins. As the one usually being dunked on in racing games, it was fun to be the one doing the dunking. What I really want to focus on is the unusual, to me, driving system, which is different enough to stand out, but not such a wild swing as to make the game impenetrable. In Fast Fusion, the turn makes you turn, but in such a way that your back end swings out. It directs you rather than moves you. You use the left and right shoulder buttons to bank and slide, meaning that you have to use both stick and trigger to accurately guide your ship. My first thoughts were, oh god. But after a single lap, it felt right. The game is responsive, so making tandem micro movements, micro adjustments on stick and trigger really feel excellent, even at these unnatural speeds. The track design helps with this. To the point that I've played, there's no hyper challenging twists and turns that require monumental digit gymnastics. The courses provide a challenge while retaining enough openness to ensure the controls never get in the way of the fluidity of the gameplay. That the gameplay is so good takes the edge off the drawbacks of Fast Fusion, as there's not really a lot beyond it. You compete in the cups, earning currency in game and as post-race rewards. You use that currency to unlock the next cup, and after the 4 cups, that's it. There's only 12 courses in the game. The additional cups you unlock past the first consist of all the same courses as that novice cup, just harder. Now there's the usual time trial and multiplayer, which are all fun in and of themselves if you enjoy the gameplay. I suppose what we should focus on is the other standout use of the currency, which allows you to engage in the titular fusion system. Now with this, as you win races and cups, you unlock new vehicles. You can then pay to merge 2 vehicles together into one, creating a Frankenstein monster of the two with improved racing stats. It's an unusual and unique system. At this stage, I'm not sure how essential it will be to engage with this to fully complete the game, but it's got a lot of potential, And the implicit suggestion that you can create some sort of secret supercar is a nice incentive to keep playing. So, why has Fast Fusion clicked with me, where other races haven't? I've blown myself up countless times. I've been pipped on the finish line. I've boosted straight into a volcano, or 12. All the things that frustrate me about racing games, or more specifically, my limits with them. Other than it just feeling really good to play, of it feeling like a high-quality, stripped-back racing game, there is one other thing. This. My heart rate is up just listening to that. You can buy all the songs in an in-game jukebox. And that is why I'm going to keep playing. For now, that's Fast Fusion. And now for another showcase for the new console. A completely different kind of showcase. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is one of those harmless, inessential things that has still managed to generate a disproportionate amount of frothing controversy. So, let's briefly hit those talking points. There seems to be elements of Welcome Tour that have got a section of the audience, that is, the vocal internet, very hot under the collar. People are angry about this game not being a game, and it costing money. My take, for what it's worth, is that the mini-games look fun. I'm up for learning a bit about the hardware. I like silly, unique Nintendo stuff. And while it would have been nice if it were a pack-in, it's not. And that's not the end of the world. So let's all get angry about, I don't know, something that matters. With that out of the way, what actually is this thing? Well, it's not, as some derogatorily say, an interactive instruction manual, and you have permission to judge anyone who parrots that line. Instruction manuals teach you how to use something. Welcome Tour teaches you how something works. So you select a little avatar from a surprisingly wide selection, and you enter a gigantic 3D render of the Switch 2 and its accessories, styled like a modern interactive museum. Each component has its own area. So you start in Area A, the left Joy-Con, and you explore the physical space of the giant Joy-Con to find hidden stamp kiosks, each one near to a different component, the joystick, the face buttons, and so on. Collect all of the stamps to unlock the next area. But that's not the meat of the, air quotes, game here. Each area has a number of kiosks around it, each one housing a minigame designed to showcase an application of the new hardware. Each one has challenges and medals associated with it. Complete these and earn the medals to unlock further challenges in other areas of the game. The first you find is a demo of mouse mode, called Spiked Balls. It's like Space Invaders, but without a weapon. You are a spaceship at the bottom of the screen, and spiked balls of varying sizes and speeds pour down from the top. You have to avoid these using mouse controls. This is fun. I think this is worth noting, as down the line, there will be indie developers out there that take this formula and make full, excellent games out of it. And there are other diverting, novel mini-games here, Speed golf, where you use the Joy-Con in mouse mode to putt a ball into a hole as quickly as possible, and one where you play a car racing down a track, tilting the mouse to avoid oncoming obstacles. There are technical demos as well, demonstrating the capabilities of the display and controllers. One notable example is the HD Rumble demo that has you shaking the Joy-Con like maracas. In one example, the Joy-Con tells you there's a marble inside it and you roll it around to get a feel for it. Then, it tells you there's 100 miniature balls inside it, and you repeat the process. The difference is notable, and it's striking and surprising. Why on earth am I talking about this? Because this is Nintendo saying, look at what we've made. Look at what it's capable of. Now, developers, it's up to you. Go nuts. Other things I noted were the visual style, which iterates on the clean, sterile Wii era, but with a bit more playfulness. And the avatars aren't exactly Mii's, but there's still a sort of squishy, colourful cuteness to them. There's little touches that appeal, like the fact that the Switch display area plays like a giant ice rink, or the hidden items around each area that you are encouraged to hand in to the lost and found. There's far too many NPCs to talk to, too many glowing exclamation marks all over the screen, but there's a lot to do, and there's a challenge to some of the minigames, if you want to get all the medals, if you want to pursue that. Whatever the qualities of Welcome Tour, it's likely that most people already know whether they are interested in this or not. The people angry about this game will likely always be angry about it. A common refrain I've heard is, who is this for? Well, the answer's easy. It's anyone who's curious. Of the vast audience Nintendo now courts, how many of those are curious, technically minded kids? How many of those are the children of Minecraft? That's the audience for this game, and they'll enjoy it. And for them, it will be a core memory of silly, weird, playful Nintendo. Now, if anything I've said has made you curious, then give this a go. It's £8, and, whisper it, I think, for what it is, that's fine. And who knows, we might all learn something. Whether you're curious or not, I'm afraid that I must now pass on this curse from me to you. That of the music from the Spiked Balls minigame. Of course, there's one more game we need to talk about. The latest entry in the biggest series Nintendo has ever produced. The sequel to the highest selling game of the last two Nintendo home consoles. The latest version of a series that I have never been excited about. So, hold up. Let's get this out of the way. I saved up for, and bought, and played a lot of Mario Kart 64. I never really liked it all that much. For most of the reasons that I outlined about racing games earlier. I liked everything about it. The characters, the world, the driving, the drifting. But the extreme frustration, mostly from the false perspective that the NPC AI was unfair, hampered the experience for me at the time, and that memory lingers. In the subsequent years, I've probably played every Mario Kart that's been released, for about 10 minutes each. I've probably played about 3 hours of Mario Kart cumulatively since 64. Now, why is this important? Well, everyone in the world is talking about this game. And why should you listen to this person talk about it? Well, I think the perspective of someone who has no real history with modern Mario Kart could be useful. Someone with that perspective is simultaneously the best and worst person to talk about it. Not able to discern how it differs from previous entries, but able to bring a fresh, unvarnished point of view to the discussion. So, this game. The announcement had me tentatively interested. The trailers took an eraser to the tentative. Then, the FOMO did the rest. So, here I am, playing the sequel to the biggest game on the Switch 1 that everyone played, but I didn't. And guess what? Everyone was right.
Mario Kart World!
Mario Kart World. The kart racer. The kart racer. Fun, frantic, universal. A shared language in the gaming world. The game for kids of all ages. There's some particular elements of this game that I want to focus on, but first, we should probably cover the basics. Grand Prix is here. I, the Mario Kart novice, like it. Each course feels like a self-contained event, a spectacular condensation of whatever fragment of the Marioverse it represents. One of the headline features, the increase to 24 races, doesn't feel like it has compromised the course design too much. There are a few big, wide, less interesting sections, but not so many that the edges feel sanded off. There's still a degree of complexity and chaos. Knockout Tour is here. I, the Mario Kart novice, like it. Another headline feature, it's a simple idea that surely requires a degree of chutzpah to pull off. Race 4 connected courses, no stopping. It's a mode that gives you access to the Mario Kart gameplay that everyone loves, without the inconvenience of having that annoying 30-second break every 5 minutes. In the trailers, I thought it looked like too much for this broad appeal franchise. A bit too hardcore. In practice, it just works. It just makes sense. And is a good example of Nintendo folding in influences from the wider gaming world, the elimination game, without it feeling derivative. F-Zero 99 fans will enjoy this, though may feel justifiably nervous about the future of that game. I haven't yet played Battle Mode or Time Trial, but they are there. I have played online, and this was what I expected. A surprisingly violent experience, but one I was surprised not to find impossibly frustrating. But let's get to those elements of Mario Kart World that I think warrant more focus. The new stuff. The big question about following up Mario Kart 8 was, how do Nintendo follow up the biggest Mario Kart ever? Well, they couldn't go bigger. They have to dial it back, go back to basics. Well, not quite. They've gone so far, so this time they just go further. An interconnected open world where all the courses flow into each other is the selling point here. All the tracks are just there for you to tool around in, with the added incentive of exploration, of hidden secrets, that great hook for modern games. But what sets this giant open world game apart from the other giant open world games that people don't like? The ones with countless map markers and a checklist of objectives. The question is, how do you apply the open world exploration model to a linear racer in a way that makes sense, that is actually fun to engage with? The answer is, introduce 2 new moves and turn Mario Kart into a 3D platformer. Turn Mario Kart into a playground. Your playground. This is the free roam mode, the last headline feature of Mario Kart World, and really the feature.
This is the part of Mario Kart World that I feel Nintendo emphasised the most in the trailers leading up to the release, and the feature that a large part of the game's audience, the younger side, the side that gravitates towards shared world experiences, are the most excited about. The idea here is the game world, all the courses and connecting roads, available to you, ready to explore without obstruction. That fluidity is emphasised from the jump. Free roam isn't a menu option along with Grand Prix or Knockout Tour. It's accessed by the plus button from the title screen, that information tucked away in the corner. Hit the plus button and, rather than jumping into a menu, the title cards just fade away, the background instantly becoming the foreground. You're in the world now, so off you go. You explore this open world, with the emphasis being on finding 3 different collectibles: Peach medallions, question mark panels, and blue pea switches. The Peach medallions are coins hidden in out-of-the-way places that you'll need to perform a trick of some kind to acquire. The question mark panels are, yes, hidden panels that require more exploration, obscured further by the fact that they are flat. And lastly, the most substantial of these diversions is those blue pea switches. Touch one to trigger a challenge. There's a brief cutscene that will outline the task ahead of you. You may need to win a short race or a long race, complete a platforming challenge, collect a set number of coloured coins within a time limit whilst being obstructed in some way. It's the expected stuff, enhanced by 2 factors: the novelty of such challenges taking place inside a Mario Kart world, and my favourite thing about this game, a subtle addition that lets the developers go wild in their world design. Those 2 new moves. The rail grind and the wall ride. In Mario Kart World, those 2 new tools in the moveset are the solution to the problem of how to turn a kart racer into a game that is possible and fun to explore. They also introduce a high skill ceiling that, from what I've seen so far, are the excuse for Nintendo to go nuts with course design, adding geometry all over the place that is designed to take advantage of these new traversal options. You can wall ride on anything vertical. You can jump from wall to wall to reach previously out of reach areas, secrets, shortcuts, new routes. If that sounds like a 3D Mario platformer, I imagine that's entirely intentional, transposing one of the great dopamine hits of that series into this one. In Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, etc., I've seen countless alternative routes around the world as I've zipped through them, as if any more incentive to replay was needed. In free roam, those moves are the key to bringing Mario Kart some of the DNA of Nintendo's most successful 3D games of recent years. As with Mario Odyssey and Tears of the Kingdom, it's just fun to get around. Just playing the game is fun. As I tool around in free roam, unlocking as many outfits as I can, addicted to the P-switch challenges, even when they provide enough challenge to take me back to the teeth-grinding frustration of those 64 days, I can see this game just stretching out before me, stretching out into the future. Mario Kart 8 straddled 2 generations, towering over the Switch 1 library for 8 years through a combination of that appealing gameplay and robust support. Mario Kart World will be, or is at least intended to be, the same. This game will be with us for the duration of the Switch 2. This will be Nintendo's game as platform, a default destination for millions of players, a social space competing with Fortnite and Roblox. Nintendo will support it for however long it takes, the relatively minimal list of courses and characters being an obvious route for DLC. There will be new courses and new characters introduced throughout the years. Give me those inklings, please. In a manner similar to Smash Ultimate for Switch 1. You can see new challenges, new collectibles, new outfits, stickers and areas added to free roam. The world is wide, and will only get wider. The world is wide and will only get wider. What is true of Mario Kart World is also true of the console we're all playing on. And that brings us back to what I'm supposed to be talking about here. The Switch 2 itself. That I haven't is testament to a virtue of the Switch 1 that we talked about in episode 7, carried forward to this new generation. The fact that the console just gets out of the way. That it wants you to jump in and just play. The quality of life improvements are here, and they are real. The system feels premium. The Joy-Con 2's better in hand. The new display, a genuinely eye-popping delight. The vibrancy and density of colour and colossal frame rate boost, meaning that the OLED is not as missed as I feared. The mice, the new feature I'm most looking forward to playing around with, are showcased really effectively in Welcome Tour. It's still immediate, tactile and smooth. It's everything good about the old, mixed with some exciting new. And this is just the start. An overwhelming amount of experiences already available in this surprisingly generous launch lineup. I haven't revisited Hyrule yet, or explored Night City, or even booted up the GameCube app. I want to get good at Puyo Puyo Tetris as well, but it's okay. This is just the start. This new console will be with us for years. The future is bright, even if only a few people behind the big red logo know exactly why. And thinking about where we'll be in 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years is an exciting prospect. For now, I'm happy to be here, on the ground floor, to experience and document a generation from start to finish. The Switch 2 isn't the revelation of 2017, but it doesn't need to be. It's the same companion as before, that adapts and changes with you, only bigger, brighter, bolder. Thanks for listening. The show notes are linked in the episode description, and you can find the show online at dialoguetree.cc. Talk to you next time.